welcome to the channel. If you're new here, it's 𝗙𝗶𝗍𝗀𝗃. Thank you for coming. Well guys, in today's video, this is something that I was tagged in and it was just funny for me to watch it. Yeah, it's kind of sad but funny at the same time. Yeah, guys, watch it with me, come back and let's talk about it.
A number of comments have objected to you using the general term the West, and they want you to be more specific because there is no monolithic bloc called the West. It is an unfair generalization, they say.
You know, it's strange. If you think about it, it's strange that you don't want me to call you the West. You don't want everyone to be lumped together under that term. It's not my term, it's your term. I didn't come up with it, you did. You call yourselves the West. Western civilization. We all grew up hearing about how wonderful the West is. Western achievement, Western thought, Western enlightenment. You're happy to take collective credit as the West for whatever you think is good. But for the bad things, you want to disassociate yourselves from it. When you're talking about the bad things, then you're like, whoa, what West are you talking about exactly? Who do you mean by the West? The way you people tell the story, people like Douglas Murray or Jordan Peterson or Sam Harris or Richard Dawkins or Christopher Hitchens, all these types, you would think that every European on the continent participated in painting the Sistine Chapel. Everyone painting in shifts. All of you collectively invented penicillin. From the telephone to airplanes. From the cotton gin to the microchip. You all did that as one gigantic team effort. We, the West, abolished slavery. We, the West, gave women the right to vote. We, the West, developed modern technology. You like being called the West then, but just bring up just one of your innumerable atrocities, and then everyone starts looking around. Who, me? Oh, you must have me mistaken for some other person, some other West. Shaggy. It wasn't me. My forefathers didn't own slaves. My forefathers didn't slaughter the Native Americans. My forefathers were just poor, innocent peasants. I have nothing to do with it. Innocent as can be. You want to take collective credit, but you want to individualize blame. But you'll say that Isaac Newton, for example, is a product of the West. Michelangelo was a product of the West. Mozart was a product of the West. Leonardo da Vinci, Thomas Edison, Steve Jobs, they're all products of the West. But somehow your villains are all bastards. Illegitimate children that you don't want to claim. No. Hitler was your child. King Leopold was your child. Harry Truman was your child. A man who killed more people in a matter of seconds than anyone in the history of the human race. And not to mention every American president after Truman. From the Korean War to Vietnam to the dirty wars in Central and South America to Panama, the first and second wars in Iraq, Somalia, Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, and before Truman, I don't think that the United States has had a single decade in its history when it wasn't slaughtering some people somewhere in the world. These are all products of Western civilization too. But anytime these crimes get brought up, you deny collective responsibility. I mean, if I try to list all of your crimes, I can't even remember them all. But if I try to list just the ones that I can remember, your battery will die before I can even properly get started. I saw a video the other day of Omar Suleiman. And he was asked by some lady, some woman, who asked him, why don't Muslims condemn acts of terror by Muslim criminals? And he was trying to be patient, his style. He was trying to be kind. He was smiling, a very forced smile. And he said, no, Muslims always condemn these things. But why don't you condemn when one of your people murders Muslims in a mosque? And of course he has a point, but also, of course they don't. Of course you don't condemn those things. You've got statues of Winston Churchill, who starved millions of Bengalis and who used poison gas on the Kurds. You not only don't condemn your terrorists, you not only don't try them for war crimes as they should be tried, you re-elect them into office. Not just elect them, re-elect them. And you deny any responsibility for their atrocities. No, if you want to be called the West, when it comes to any positive achievements, then you have to accept being called the West for all the full catalog of inhuman, vicious, genocide, murder, rape, torture, bigotry, exploitation, oppression, assassinations, coups and subjugation, evil and brutality, all that your people have ever committed. That's why I always say Western civilization is a sarcastic term, because you never civilized. And, we made cool stuff is not a defense. Your approach to morality is let's not and say we did. Let's not be moral, but say we are. You think that righteousness is denying the evil you do, not stopping yourselves from doing the evil.
As you've seen in the video, that is a white man who was asked about why he always prefers to refer the West as the West. And the response that he gave was what was funny to me, because like we are living in a world where the Western governments like America, UK, those governments have always seen themselves as superior, as better, as stronger, as everything good, you know. And so when it comes to everything innovative, anything positive, anything good, they always want to be as a collective and call themselves as the West. Like they're always like the West invented this, the West did that, Western civilization, like how this man was trying to put them in his words. I loved hearing that. And then the reporter seemed like she was triggered by why he was referring them to the West when it came to the negative things. It's so funny because when it comes to the atrocities that happen to people, they don't want to be the West. It's not a collective now. Now it's just single-handedly like, no, it's France, it's the UK, it's Britain, it's Germany, it's Italy, it's France. It's never the West when it comes to the negative things that they have impacted on Black people, African people, indigenous people, Asian people. When it comes to the negative parts, no, it's always individualized. Because now, like, if I look into Congo, King Leopard, guys, he was one of the person that did the most atrocity in Africa to the people of DRC. Almost 1 million people lost their lives under that person, and they don't want to associate with him. They want to separate him. No, we are not the West. It was him, and he comes from this region. How entitled are those people? Why is it when we talk about the colonization, the slavery, the looting of resources, the killings that you did to the people, the stealing of land, the coming and taking of people's rights away and doing all these atrocities, then you do not want to talk about it? Most of the things that the Western people claim to have innovated or made up were things that African people, Black people actually made. It's also crazy to me that some white people are always telling African people to forget about the past. We are no longer living in the past, but we are living in a world today where they are still privileged, where they are not asked a lot to get things. So if you're still benefiting from the things that you say that we should forget, how are you expecting us to not talk about those things? Because we did not choose to be, you know, in these situations today. Like the way you say, oh, I was not there, I was not my ancestor, I did not do those things to you. I mean, I do understand. We, all of us today in this generation, we were not there in the past times. It's our ancestors, the foundation that existed at that time. But why is it when it comes to, let's say, us Africans or Black people, indigenous people, talking about the injustice that we are receiving, the discrimination, the racism that we are receiving through the systems that are set up to not benefit us, then we are told to not talk about the past, like forget the history that happened, who were not existing at that time, who were not there, it's not our fault, like what should we do? The thing is not about what you should do, but are you accepting the fact that the systems that we have today are benefiting you more than us as Africans, us as Black people, us the indigenous people? We are on the receiving end. So when it comes to talking about the atrocities of the ancestors of white people, then they want to excuse the fact that they were not there, but they still benefit in the things that are set up for them even until today. You are seen as the beauty standard, seen as the ones that innovated everything, seen as the ones that built all the civilization, seen as the ones that wrote history, or actually the good history. You are seen and put as the face of religions. So why is it that when it comes to the positive things, you want to embrace them, and then when we come to talking about those things that they are not okay and they are not fine because they were actually taken from us Africans, Black people, indigenous people, Asian people, then that's why there's a problem. That's when we should forget history. That's when we are like, we are racist. That's when we are like stuck in the past. It's just not fair. It's not okay. So that's why when I see like white people like this man coming out to call out his white nations, the West, on their BS, and them being hypocrites for always wanting to put their faces on anything positive and call themselves together as a collective, the West. But when it comes to the West as being brutal, being colonizers, being slave masters, then they're like, no, we are individuals, like I said. That doesn't make sense to me. You want to just act dumb when it comes to negative things about your ancestors, but when it comes to the positive things about your ancestors, then you are the worst and you are the ones who are better at everything. So when I see that the same white people are also starting to come out and call out on their governments or their organizations on the BS they've been pushing as the narrative of being the better know-it-all, so in actual sense they were stolen things that they took away from the people they say they are uncivilized. It's nice for me to see, and I love seeing that. Guys, let me know what you think. In case you've not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Also, like I always say, thank you to everyone that's sending the super chats, everyone that comments, everyone that likes the videos. Please don't forget to like the videos, it helps with the channel. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, that's it for me today. Let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.